Hello and welcome to the preview show from RamsTV, live from Pride Park Stadium. Today marks the final home game of the regular season in 2022-23 for Derby County. The Rams host Portsmouth this afternoon. Derby still have everything to play for and could clinch a playoff place this afternoon. Before we get to the game though, some news. In the last few minutes, David McGoldrick has been named Derby County's Player of the Season. He becomes just the 11th striker to win the Jack Stamps Trophy for a campaign that has seen him score 25 goals in all competitions so far, including 22 in the league. And defender Erin Cashin has won the Sammy Crooks Young Player of the Season award. The Republic of Ireland under-21 international has been a near ever-present this season, making 50 appearances, more than any other outfield player. Both Cash and Didsey will be presented with their awards on the pitch at Pride Park before kick-off this afternoon. Congratulations to them both. Well, today may be the final home game of the regular season for Derby County, but it might not be the end of the action here at Pride Park, depending on what happens over the next 2 weekends. Plenty could be decided in League One this afternoon. Sheffield Wednesday have to win to stay in the automatic promotion race. Even that might not be enough for them. If Plymouth and Ipswich win today, they will both be promoted to the Championship. Bolton and Derby could clinch their playoff places today. To do that, they need to win and hope Peterborough fail to beat Bristol Rovers. Forest Green are already down. Accrington could join them this afternoon, so could Morecambe if results go against them. Everyone in League One in action today. We'll take you through the fixture list a little bit later. Derby here at Pride Park to host Portsmouth, so let's start our build-up to that game in earnest by hearing from Louie Sibley. The Derby forward might be the man in the mask today for the Rams after suffering a broken nose in last weekend's victory over Burton Albion.
Obviously it was a bit sore. Doctor put it back in position, so it's one of them. Obviously got on with it, but I'm all good now.
Yeah, broken nose, for people that aren't aware. Can you explain what happened?
To be fair, I think it was just literally I collided with his elbow, and he didn't mean to. I spoke to him after, so I think he obviously was very apologetic because he didn't mean it. Just obviously collided, and then as soon as I went down, obviously I broke it before, but I've touched my nose and I can see my nose like the corner of my eye, so it wasn't a good one, but. I think it was more, if you could tell by my reaction, was that feeling of doing it. I broke it before, but not that bad. So, but the doctor's done all right to put it kind of position. So,
what was the conversation with the doc, and was there any consideration that you might have to come off?
I think he looked at it straight away. And if I'm being honest, it just had that gut feeling. I did feel a bit sick inside because I could see it at the corner of my eye. So, but I said I was fine to carry on. I think obviously if I had a headache or I was a bit concussed, but I was all right. So main thing I carried on really. So.
And I saw a close-up of you toward the end of the game with the cotton wool or whatever it was up the nostril. I mean, did you play all game with that from that point? And was that difficult, like breathing and stuff?
I think it was just obviously more to stop the blood. But it was a bit difficult to breathe. But potentially could be wearing a mask maybe for Saturday, so more for protection. So it's all good though. But
you don't want to come off in these games, right? You want to be on the pitch.
No, I think that was it. Obviously. These are the type of games you want to play, and at the minute we're a good team, obviously playing good football, so you want to stay in the team as well. So I was never coming off. Obviously it did hurt, to be fair, but I was never coming off.
We'll look big picture in a moment, but just on you and the season that you've had and the stages of it, I suppose, because there've been times when we've spoken and you've been Derby star left back, and now you're playing in a more natural position for you. How do you look back on the campaign?
No, it's been really good. Obviously, I've really enjoyed it, to be fair. Obviously, change of position. Obviously, I probably said before in different interviews that left back, it probably wasn't as easy as first. It was obviously a different position, but then I thought I grew into it. I thought I've had better games. So I've said to the gaffer, I spoke to the gaffer many times and said, wherever he plays me, I'll give it my all. But obviously now I'm playing more midfield, and I feel like that's my position, and I feel like I just can create more, I can do more. I'm involved more in the game, so I think definitely that's my position. And yeah, as long as I can keep helping the team win, that's the most important thing.
And there seems to be some good chemistry between you and David McGoldrick, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang in particular. Do you feel as though it's like clicked with the three of you? Yeah,
we said that. Obviously, we're all attacking mindset players. So I think the last couple of games, because we're all so close together, we can obviously link up well. So I think we all know a touch is always forward, and I think you've probably got three attacking really midfield players. So yeah, we're obviously working well together. Obviously, like Connor and Birdie are doing well as well. They're finding us in the spaces. So I think we're confident at the minute. We're playing good football. Obviously, we probably should be scoring more, but I feel like it's obviously coming to the big end of the season. So if we can keep up that run, who knows where it leads already.
And the standard question that we ask everyone now: what is it like playing with David McGoldrick, particularly when he's in the form that he is at the moment?
Yeah, no, it's obviously class. I think some of the touches he does, his movement is class. So he's always got that. His finishing is probably one of the best. So I think it's more sometimes in games you watch him or he does something, you just think that's not many people can do that. So yeah, it's been really good to play with him this season.
Louie Sibley's tribute there to Derby's Player of the Year, David McGoldrick. Well, Derby could clinch their playoff place today. Portsmouth themselves were in the race until very recently. Here's their manager, John Mousinho, on how he's approaching the trip to Pride Park today.
Yeah, it's been good. It's sometimes an interesting time of the season if you haven't got anything to play for, but the lads have been very good this week, trying to keep them motivated and keep them at it in training, and they've been excellent out there. So really looking forward to going into our last away game of the season, and a pretty good one to boot as well.
Yeah, let's go into that in a bit more detail. What is the attitude like around the training ground at the moment? Obviously, with having nothing to play for as the season ends.
It's been really good. It's been spot on, and the message has been from everyone at the coaching staff is that anything less than what we've been doing over the past 3 months is unacceptable, and we need to keep those standards up for a number of reasons. First of all, just for individual pride and to make sure that we go and perform when we do play against these sides. And then also, we've got players playing for contracts, we've got players playing for positions. Every time they step out on the training pitch and they step out on the pitch, it's a chance to show what players are about, and that might be to us here at Portsmouth, it might be to someone else as well. So they need to make sure that they are on it at all times, and that professional pride is something that we massively need to keep on top of.
Derby obviously still do have something to play for. They're in the running for that playoff spot. What sort of challenge are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, a really good side, a really well organised side. Paul Warne now has had the majority of the season, I think, with them to get them going, and they've been excellent. I think this season they've got some really good players, some really big name players at this level, and obviously they're looking to bounce back and get back into the Championship. So it's always a difficult place to play, and with a lot to play for, with a lot on the line for Derby, we expect a side that are hungry, that they're at it, and we're going with every reason to win the game. So we've got a real tough encounter ahead of us.
Portsmouth boss John Mousinho there, who wasn't in charge when Derby visited Fratton Park back in November. Mousinho replaced Danny Cowley as boss in January. Things have certainly improved since he arrived, and while Portsmouth are unbeaten in 9 games, they've slipped out of the playoff race after drawing 4 in a row before last weekend's win over Accrington. But Portsmouth have only lost 4 games to teams outside the top 6 all season, so even though they have nothing to play for today, don't expect an easy afternoon. Portsmouth then playing for Pride. Derby going for a playoff place. Head coach Paul Warne says he's happy to have meaningful games to play at the end of this season.
Yeah, I say to lads all the time, pressure is a privilege. So you want something to play for. You want adrenaline racing through you. You want big crowds to turn up and feel it, know you're alive, really, and that's what sport gives you. So really looking forward to these last 2 games. And see 2 massive games, obviously against 2 really big teams who have been in the top flight as well. So the games we should look forward to, and hopefully if we can perform at our very best, we give ourselves a good chance.
You had a lot of success at your former club and eventful seasons at your former club. Have you ever had a season as a manager where you've not had anything riding on the last couple of games?
No, I haven't, no. Yeah, it's exhausting. The worst one was the champ year, the COVID year, where we seemed to have a game every other day. But yeah, it's every single season has been full out in one way or the other. So I've never had, nor would I want. I say that I would love to have had a mid-table season in the champ. Yeah, so it's always ended like this, and it's always from a personal point of view. Only no one's interested, possibly, but I'll tell you, from a personal point of view, it's disaster. You can never book a holiday. You don't know when your time is. You think, oh, do we get 6 weeks off this year? Great. Do we get only 3 weeks off? Then you've got to try and sign players and that. But that's the excitement, and we put ourselves in a position to give ourselves a good chance to get into the playoffs. However, so have Bolton, so have Peterborough, and obviously 2 have already got in. But I think League One this year has been really good. I think every team in the top 6, bar Plymouth, have probably been in the top flight. So they're all big clubs. We're not the only big club in it, and the excitement of playing these last 2 games for the lads is great. So it should be a nice sunny day on Saturday. Hopefully we can perform at a level to give ourselves a chance to have it in our own hands come the last game. And Sheffield Wednesday away doesn't come a lot more difficult, I don't think.
We've talked a lot about your experience and your coaching staff's experience and the experience that you have in the dressing room as well. How does that actually manifest? Is it conversations? Is it leading by example with the younger guys? How do you actually sort of impart that knowledge?
Yeah, it's difficult. You don't. Yeah, it's a good question. I think subliminally, really. I know it sounds a bit crazy. You don't actually actively say, look, I've had this amount of promotions as a player, this as a coach, this as a manager. I think it was someone like Tom Barkhausen the other day didn't have a clue that we'd got 3 promotions with my previous club, which is pretty amazing. So you feel like you need to sort of say a little bit, like we sort of know roughly what we're doing, Tom, so you can you go with us. But it's more about the fact that it's not so much now, it's about the whole season. So like every single game, we've always had a after the game meeting, and there's sometimes you don't want to, there's sometimes you think, look, let's just put that to bed. Let's not even, but you have to show, every game has to have a learning outcome in fairness, and it sort of layers up the information. So when you do come to this end of the season, you feel like all the players know everything. And look, if we're not good enough to get promoted, that's fine. And I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to cry about it either. If we're not good enough, then we have to learn from it and be good enough next year. But you feel like the layers just keep getting put on all the time. So look, I think that we're going to have a team meeting in a minute about Portsmouth. I don't think they haven't lost in the last 8 games. I know that for a fact. And John's got them playing really well, really confidently. But I know that virtually, as soon as we put the meeting up and we'll say, look, this is what PAC does, for example, the lads will go, right, we know what we have to do. And it's not about making these 2 games any more important. Every single game we've been in charge of, we've tried to win. So that it's not like a change of intensity or a change of tact, or I speak to the players any differently. The lads know the importance of these 2 games. This is why they're footballers. This is why they've been training off-season since, I don't know, the end of May, start of June, and to get themselves in the situation they're in now, they fully deserve to enjoy it, but embrace it. So we don't change a lot, I don't think. It's just the same messaging. Just try and be consistent and fair, and that's what we try to do.
Paul Warne there. Here's your League One lineup for today. Key fixtures include Bolton against Fleetwood, Ipswich versus Exeter, Peterborough against Bristol Rovers, Plymouth Burton, and Shrewsbury against Sheffield Wednesday. And here at the Pride Park Stadium, the final regular season home game for Derby County sees the Rams host Portsmouth. Overseas viewers can watch the action with us on RamsTV. Get your Game Pass now at dcfc.co.uk. We'll be back here with reaction after the game as well. Until then, goodbye.